Hey there, Bible buddies. I've got another Bible review for you today. And this one is a King James Bible, but it's done by Concordia. Now, I don't think we've done too many Concordias on this channel. Maybe one other one I've reviewed. But certainly Concordia made some very, very nice editions of the Bible. So let's go ahead and get into it. We'll take a look. You can see that wonderful genuine leather grain. I'm assuming it's a pigskin. It does have Holy Bible kind of offset imprinted there. And there is a very nice, very deep perimeter line there. Not quite at the edge of the book block, but a little before it. And there's a very fine outer perimeter line there on the edge. The Yapp looks very nice on this edition. It does appear that somebody stood it up for a while on edge, so it is a little bit flat, but it's not too bad, thankfully. On the spine, we do have Holy Bible pronouncing, and then we have Concordia at the bottom. And there are these very nice spine ribs here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. They're very highly burnished, and they are very tactile. Like you can feel them nicely, but they're not really raised by any noticeable amount there. But still very nice ribs. It gives just an overall very nice presentation. We have the kind of high burnished leather there. We do have on the back just the continuation of that grain. And we can see at some point there's some striations here. Maybe the camera's picking it up. Vertical striations here that at some point the back cover is probably bent a little bit more than it should have been. That just happens with use. As far as the other features go, there were white head and tail bands, but they've kind of yellowed over time. There is a nice gold gilt, and it is a red under gold. So we're going to take a look at that. That wonderful red page edge gilt. Looks awesome. We'll see better when we open it up. And there is a black ribbon. It looks like a single-sided satin black ribbon, but it's very small. And the end is kind of knotted, like an example we saw previously. So it does kind of look nice. You just have to be careful because it'll fray or kind of bend and get a little beaten up there if you don't treat it right. But very short ribbon, though. That's the thing I thought was kind of weird. It's very short, considering they kind of finished off the edge like that, the bottom of it like that. It's just short. Is what it is. Go ahead and get into it. It does appear that somebody at some point fixed a little thing here. I can't read Swedish, so if anybody can read this and translate it, feel free to go for it. I have no idea what this says, but there's like two of them kind of stuck on each other here on the front cover. And I would imagine you could take it off with a little bit of pulling. I just didn't want to because I thought it was kind of neat. I didn't want to risk tearing anything, so... the cordon work is very fine. I don't even know if the camera is going to be able to pick it up. Look at the back. And there is kind of a Saffiano paper here. End sheet. It's very fine, though, the Saffiano kind of texture. And on the end sheet as well, it kind of matches just a very fine kind of Saffiano pattern. Go ahead and get into it. You just have a blank. There's kind of this end sheet here, and then just like one single blank sheet. So kind of minimalistic as far as, kind of end sheets go. No presentation pages or anything like that. And we have our title page, which says the Concordia Junior Bible, the Holy Bible containing the Old and New Testaments. And Concordia Publishing House in St. Louis, Missouri. Then we have our epistle dedicatory, gets right into it. And our table of contents. And a key to the pronunciation. And the first book of Moses called Genesis. Really does get right into it really quickly. And we'll go ahead and take a look at the text. We'll flip a page over so that we can see things a little bit better. And this is kind of very standard text formatting for the King James Bible that we've been seeing recently. You have your book and your chapter numbers up in the outer corners, your running headers up in the gutter, the upper gutter. You have your page numbers singled centered at the bottom of the columns. And then we have kind of chapter indicators here with a double line drop cap. And they are doing the same sort of kind of summaries here. They list the verse kind of where the area changes, where the subject changes. They are using Pilcrow markers to indicate the new chapters. Kind of flip through it. Maybe we can catch that page marker. Look at that. Such a nice presentation. The red has held up very nicely. You can see how nice and uniform it still is. You can even see kind of the cuts in the page edges. Maybe if the camera's picking it up, some little kind of faint lines there, which is how the blade would have cut through the paper when they were producing this. Very nicely done. Let's see if we can wiggle out this ribbon. Yeah, so here's the ribbon. It's just looks like a single-sided satin black ribbon marker. Very short again. I'm not sure why they didn't make it a little bit longer. Sometimes you're supposed to pull it to the page edge, or, I can barely even do that. So it just kind of is what it is. We'll try on Psalm 119. We can see that there are no Hebrew characters, but there is the Hebrew transliteration or the English transliteration of the Hebrew characters. And that paper is very nice and opaque. There's only a very little bit of show through, maybe right about there, just a little hint of it. But it's very faint. This is a very nice quality paper, nice and smooth. Oxidation is minimal. You can see a little bit more of it here, kind of. It would have been a fairly nice kind of creamy paper to begin with. Probably akin to what we've been seeing in these other editions recently. I feel like sometimes I open these up and I get them all lined up to do reviews. And as I'm going through the reviews, I'm like, okay, what am I going to say that's different about this one versus the previous, 2 or 3 editions? Because they all they use a lot of kind of the same features because they knew it worked, right? Obviously, a nice opaque paper, red under gold art gilt, Yapp, leather cover. It works, right? It's a tried and true method for producing Bibles. That certainly still works nowadays. So, how bad could it have been? But it's just interesting because a lot of the same premium features, you see them kind of repeated throughout the brands, whether it's Winston or Concordia, Thomas Nelson, those sorts of things. Then we have the end of the Old Testament. You have one blank page in between, the 400 years between the Old and New Testament. Then you have your New Testament title page, the Gospel according to Matthew. I'm going to flip a few pages in, and we'll notice that it is a black letter text. So no red letter in this one, nice black letter. And we'll kind of flip to the end and see what we see. So we have the end of Revelation there. And it says printed in the United States of America, interestingly enough. This is kind of weird because there's a page number 334 and then there's another code here, 333. Not sure what that means. And there's a blank sheet and it gets right into the practical helps for Bible students. So a little help section from Concordia. And you can see it's a fairly small help section, not super robust. But it is nicely done. I'll go ahead and show you the table of contents. They have a nice font selection there. It's actually interesting seeing this font selection because it's a lot cleaner of a font than what was used in the Bible, but I guess they probably just picked up the biblical text from somebody who was already producing it. In this section, they would have formatted themselves and added it after the fact. So I'm kind of partial to this font. It looks a little nicer than the biblical text. So a long article there about practical helps for the Bible, for Bible students, excuse me. There's a little subject there that says Israel and its national life. The exile and the restoration, the interval between the Old and New Testament. So there's just a bunch of little articles there about things that are going on. Not really formatted beyond just a, say like a prose text, so it might make it hard for some to kind of sit there and read through all these. Christ True Humanity, Offices of Christ, and it looks like they have some verse references there, which is nice. The Evil Angels, and it's got certainly some different verse references. Genesis 3, Genesis 14, Matthew 25 and 41, 1 John 3 and 8. So, a variety of different things to look up. That's interesting. I like that, though, how it gives a little bit of information, plus it gives the verse references right there. So you can look it up and get your own context. The biblical context, right? Then we have some that are formatted a little bit better. We have the Chief Messianic Prophecies here, approximate chronological order of the Messianic Prophecies, Parables of Christ, Miracles of Christ, Jewish Weights, Measures, Money, and Time. It's always interesting having these in the back. And the Jewish calendar. That's cool. I like that. I'll just go ahead and show that one to you guys. So yeah, a nice little variety of helps. No concordance or anything like that. Just kind of the topical little articles there. Then we have some maps, kind of standard for what we've seen and known throughout these times. This one's a little different. I haven't seen this one before. It's kind of a mix. You've got the blue for the water, the green for the grass, and brown for the mountains, and then it's all really hard to read. Colors are a little too vibrant, all right? You gotta make sure you mute the colors a little bit, make them a little more pastel. Otherwise, they're going to be competing with the text that's on the map, and the map won't do you any good if you can't read the text. Yeah, see, these are a little bit better because the colorations are a little more pastel. So I'm curious where the maps would have come from, I'm sure it's a mixed bag, right? Some of these are probably found in some Bibles, some in other Bibles. Some of them are extremely small. Oh, wow. Listen, like 10 bonus points to anybody who can read the Bible. Those maps, goodness, it's extremely small text, beyond me, beyond what I'm capable of. On the bottom here we have J.C.E. and then K.D.C. So those are the only 2 codes we have there for the Bible. We just have our end sheet. That's it. Wraps up nicely. So a nice little addition from Concordia. Concordia is one of those brands, like, they didn't produce very many Bibles, but the ones that they produced were fairly nice additions. I mean, here's an example of one. But they're one that you don't see. I mean, I guess you see them pop up regularly enough. If you guys know how to search eBay, you can use quotes to search for specific things. So I guess potentially you could put Concordia in quotes and then Bible out of quotes, and then maybe everything that Concordia produced that's for sale would pop up and kind of populate. I just don't remember them being like an excessive amount of them on eBay or anything like that. I don't think that they're the rarest Bibles out there. I feel like maybe Winston might have been a little bit more rare than Concordia, but that's just me kind of attributing to as I've seen it, right? Calling it as I see it, kind of, but not that that's really worth anything. Oh, let's go ahead and get some measurements. So when I extend the Yapp, it's going to come in at 7¼ inches tall by just under 4¾ inches wide, and about almost 1.5 inches thick. It's a nice little size for a compact edition. I feel like I'm doing a lot of compact editions now. And I'm looking around at everything I have left, and like this, I'm in the compact edition section, and then like directly to the right of me, there's like the large Bible section, and some of them get really large. So maybe we'll see some larger Bibles coming up soon, or I don't know, maybe some newer production small Bibles. Who knows? Let's go ahead and get a measurement on the fonts. I'll start with the uppercase. The D here comes in at looks like 8. I don't know, maybe like a 9 point versus Times New Roman for the uppercase letters, and then for the lowercase letters, about an 8.5 point font versus Times New Roman. So I'd say about an 8.5 point font versus Times New Roman, which again is pretty standard for what we've been seeing. We've been seeing a lot of these editions that are laid out fairly similarly, just because they're KJVs and they all kind of came from the same time. Definitely, we are in the gold. I feel like we're in the golden age of Bible production now. So maybe this would have been the silver age. I don't know how you parse that out. But these vintage editions certainly they all kind of took a number from the same playbook, if you catch my drift. So yeah, Bible Buddies. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to leave them down below. Otherwise, until next time, Bible Buddies. Bye.